Good morning. It is November the 11th. Happy Veterans Day, 2021, and this is today's Pulse Update. Um, it's interesting doing this and building a company because often what you see is just the good of things. Uh, right, like it's hard to see the work. It's hard to see sometimes just the sheer monotony of some things. It's also hard to see the bad, right? One of the things that I think is so interesting about anybody that's ran a company has been the resiliency that they must have, because you have bad days and bad weeks. That just happens. This morning is not started off well. In an inauspicious start, I spilled my Diet Coke all over my keyboard, and desk, and everything, which means I'm out of Diet Coke and have a messy desk. But on top of that, we got some kind of bad news from some customers. Right, all the while dealing with just kind of this larger concept of how do we keep growing and scaling and getting better. And it's interesting because it adds up. Like the enthusiasm that you have for this, for whatever idea you're working on, it's a type of fuel that you burn. I don't know a better way to say it, right? And the idea that you can burn out is really kind of true. And so what you really need to do is find a way to replenish and reinvigorated, re-excited about things. But mornings like today make it hard. And I have to admit, I have mornings like today often. And for better or worse, I think the route that I've taken, and I think our team has taken, has been kind of squaring our shoulders and dealing with it, and just saying, hey, like things aren't always going to be good. Things aren't always going to be perfect. Things aren't always going to run smoothly. Customers aren't always going to be happy. Every demo we do is not going to lead to a sale. Every outreach we do is not going to lead to a demo. That just happens. You get plenty of rejection, plenty of downsides to running your own company. At the end of the day, if you don't believe in what you're doing, it's really hard to keep going. But truthfully, I distinctly and absolutely believe in what we do. Whether we can convince enough other people of that to make this into something larger or not is an open question. But the need to gather candid feedback is just so important for organizations, and we're so excited for every organization that's willing to take that step. But it's hard for those organizations. It's a hard thing to expose themselves to that feedback when sometimes it's critical to build an organization that can close feedback loops and to put in that effort. I have a lot of sympathy for them. It's a hard thing, and the people that do it are incredible and amazing. But I can also understand why sometimes people are okay with the status quo, right? It's hard to change. It's hard to get better. It's a grind. And, I can understand why sometimes people avoid that. But for those that do, man, is it a worthwhile thing? Anyways, it's kind of a somber update today. We've got some meetings, and the day can definitely flip. But, it's one of those meetings where you start out and think, oh, man, hopefully the rest of the day goes better. But I also think it's an important thing to share this, for people to see, like, this just doesn't work smoothly and well every day. Your business growth doesn't just go like this. Anytime you see a perfect growth cycle thing, you should be really wary of that. Most of the time, it means there's lots of capital behind it. And that the acquisition of customers has been put ahead of actually value for customers. And in a lot of ways, what happens there is you're acquiring new customers without paying the bills. And honestly, we could get a crap load of customers if we charged far less. But for us and the customer, it's important that we're sustainable. If we disappear, it doesn't help the customer. And unfortunately, lots of startups, that's where they're at the beginning. They charge almost nothing, get to a point where they're a little bit bigger, have cashed out some of the initial investors, and then they start charging more. And at that point, maybe their customers are so built in that they don't go anywhere. But that's not the model that we're looking to pursue. We want to make sure we offer value today and tomorrow, hopefully at the exact same cost. So people always know it's consistent, and our goal would be to lower that cost. We want to get our costs lower over time, not raise them over time. I realize that means our margins will be worse, but if we can internally do things to make our margins larger, we should pass on that benefit to our customers. I firmly believe it. I want to be as consumer friendly as possible. And in an age where it feels like so many groups are consumer hostile, that seems so different. Anyways, mad tangents today. We have great meetings today coming up with a rescue mission in Virginia. Really excited about that one. And an old friend in California who was about to sign up right before COVID. And then COVID hit and the world changed. So we're checking with them to find out, hey, what's the world looking like for them? They do a lot with students. And we're in food pantries, and we're excited to see how we can help them. So exciting day, little somber start to the morning. But I wanted to see that sometimes it's not all unicorns and rainbows, so to speak. There are hard days. Honestly, there's probably more hard days than good days in doing a startup. But what I've discovered is it's just the resilience to keep going. So if you're in the middle of it, don't stop. Keep going. You can do it. There's a difference between stopping and responding to feedback. Don't stop because something's hard. If something's just not working, make some changes. But don't stop just because it's difficult. Things do get better. And the difficult days give way to better things.